Hello, and thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. My name is Kara, and I'm a holistic health practitioner for both people and pets. After working for years in the conventional medicine field, I realized that while our lifespans may be getting longer, our health spans are rapidly shrinking. And when it comes to our pets, both their length and quality of life are decreasing. When I turned to functional medicine and a more holistic approach to health, I saw dramatic improvements for my pets, myself, and my patients. Join me each week as I merge natural health for people and pets by focusing on the root cause of disease and applying raw, real remedies that you can use to improve overall wellness for every member of your family, including the furry ones.
All right, everybody, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Raw Remedies. You are going to notice that this is a slightly different episode than usual because we are all at superzoo. And we decided to sneak into the press booth with Isabel and bring you some of the most frequently asked questions or concerns or topics that I feel are important to talk about in the holistic pet industry. So we're just going to round robin this and answer and ask and
introduce us.
See.
Yeah,
I guess people probably are going to want to know who you are. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Some people I've had on before, some I have not. So let's start with Isabel. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Isabel Alvarez-Arata. I have a podcast called Covered in Pet Hair. I'm a writer and digital marketer specializing in the pet industry.
That was so well worded.
I'm Lauren Becks. I'm the owner and founder of Girls Gone Raw Pet Health. We do natural pet treats for carnivores.
You guys all know who I am.
I'm Pam Roussell with Perfectly Holistic, and I am a woo-woo cat mama and holistic health healer.
Woo-woo is my favorite phrase.
Woo-woo. I'm Jessica Fisher. I am the host of the Pet Parenting Reset. I'm a canine nutritionist and holistic pet health coach. And stay tuned for a new brand called Wild Wellness. So excited. Okay. Plug.
Jess, you start.
All right. Okay. First question. Name your top homeopathic remedy to have on hand. I'm handing you this one.
Yay. Okay. This is like one of my favorite modalities to use is homeopathy because it's so easy to use with pets. But I think probably one of the most. Can I do two instead of one?
Do as many as you want.
Okay. I would say for cats probably Cantharis 30C if they are super tendency to get UTIs and stress and things like that, blood in the urine. Cantharis 30C is something you want to have on hand. And then for like general GI upset, Arsenicum album 30C would be like a really big one. Because most of the time if they're vomiting or something and it's food related, Arsenicum takes care of that. But it also works on allergies and it actually works on some UTIs and it has multiple uses. But those are like two biggies that you can have on hand.
I love that because I don't know about you guys, but I personally have a cat who gets stressed out. And when I brought our newest cat into the house a few years ago, she got a UTI from stress.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have known that. This was far before I was in the holistic space. I would love to have known that so that I didn't have to take her up to the bed and give her antibiotics, which is what I did. So,
and homeopathy works faster than the medication.
I can attest. I was very hungover this morning as I was writing these questions down on bar napkins, and Nux Vomica saved my life.
Yes,
so.
Yes, it does.
Okay, do you want to read the next question since you have the mic?
Okay. What tips would you give pet parents who are leaving pets at home to go out of town?
Isabel.
I consider myself a pet sitting industry advocate because I think that there is nothing better than leaving your pet at home where they are most comfortable, where they are safest, where they are not exposed to strange people, strange pets, strange viruses, and hiring a very, very reputable, insured professional pet sitter is the best way to go. If you don't have one and you want one, the Professional Pet Sitters Associations, the Pet Sitters International is international. You may be able to find some in English-speaking countries outside of the U.S. So that's Pet Sitters International, petsit.com. And the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters is petsit.org.
Nice. So we're not, Rover? Yeah, we're not going on Rover.
I will say that Rover, WAG, and similar technology companies do not guarantee your pet's safety, so you need to use those at your own risk and make sure that you don't get sued if the pet care provider gets bit, because there is no coverage for you as the homeowner and no coverage for your pet if they are hurt, injured, or lost. How important is nutrition for overall health? I mean, I feel like any of you can answer this. So who hasn't answered one yet?
There's a line.
Yeah, dude.
Go for it, Lauren.
I mean, it's so hard. I mean, you only get one body, and that's the thing that runs everything. So you literally are what you eat. If you eat dirty, you're going to feel dirty. It's going to affect your lifespan, your energy, your overall life experience. And it's the same thing with our pets. These animals that are, I mean, I hit on obesity a lot, but it's just one of the most avoidable things that is so profoundly impactful to health and lifestyle. I mean, not only they're like, oh, well, he's happy, no, your dog struggles a little bit every day. And if they have taxed organs from being loaded with synthetics all the time, they're going to have less, what do we call it? Life source. You know what I mean? You're going to have less stamina and energy and like just drive to go out. And the animals that are cleaner and more balanced with their bodies, I mean, they're fit and their organs aren't having to work as hard. Everything's just kind of in balance. Those are the animals that are able to, exist better. Like these, just be more resilient. They're able to be more instinctive. And yeah, I think nutrition and also just being able to be the species that they are is really big too. I'm a big advocate for enrichment. I know that goes outside of the question, but
Well, we're going to get there.
Is part of
Yeah. We'll get there.
gonna
I'll
say
hand
don't
it back
ask
to you
that.
when we get to that question. Awesome. I totally agree. My answer is the most important.
it is the only
Yeah.
where it starts.
Okay. When might it be helpful to work with an animal communicator? You do communication, right?
I don't because it's not my
It's not your
forte,
forte.
But I hire amazing people who work for me that do, and
Yeah.
they blow my mind. But I'll give you an example. Like
Yeah.
I just had a client adopt a rescue another kitty that needed a new home, and she has 3 Sphinx already. And I said, you need to do a communication session before you bring this new cat in and explain to your family what's going on and prepare them and get their buy-in and get their support. And she just texted me this morning. She goes, this has been the easiest transition ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep. Don't miss out on that opportunity.
So I am not an animal communicator, but I love woo-woo. I love all things woo-woo. And what I would say to that question, how I would answer that question is that I think much like Kara and I, and even Pam, a lot of times people come to us as like a last resort. And I feel that happens with animal communicators as well. And to just kind of reiterate what Pam said, I would honestly say start with an animal communicator because you're going to get insights that it could literally take you years to get to any other way if you're just like pushing through your ego constantly. Like start with an animal communicator.
I have a very unique situation. The first time I actually used an animal communicator, I was moving, and I could choose to leave my pets in the care of my ex who shared custody of them with me, or I could take them. And like, really, it was one of those things that neither answer was wrong. Both, they were going to be cared for and loved in both situations. And the animal communicator immediately said, are they going anywhere? Because Titan just says, I want to go. I want to go. And the one who was going was me. So I knew immediately that he wasn't talking about a walk, which is what the animal communicator thought. He was talking about moving to Louisiana. And then I asked, what does Socks want to do? And he said, she just wants to stay with Titan. So wherever he goes, you go. So big life decisions you don't actually have to make alone, especially when it's really gray. My recommendation is always animal communicator, but a good one, not one that might either just take your money and not give you something. So you want to talk about your people? Because like that might be a resource that people want.
Well, the 2 ladies that work for us, I've used them both. That was part of the interview process, right? But they are so incredible. Like they have the auditory skill of hearing their voices as well as understanding what they're trying to say. But it is it is uncanny, the information that comes through in these conversations, like you and I were talking about earlier. Like, there is no way they could know this information. The things that they're sharing or showing them, it can only be through their communication, because I'm not giving them all this background, and they're coming through with their personalities. They're coming through with their answers to situations or getting their feedback and the insight. But the ladies that work for me are absolutely incredible. And my clients are they keep coming back again and again because they're just amazed. They're blown away, first of all, and when you get results and you can get like an easy transition to adding another cat to a household in a very, very, very tiny cabin home. Wow. Wow. It's definitely worth it. Absolutely.
And I want to add, I used a communicator when grieving the loss of a dog. It was like years in, and I still was like, it was just really guttural still. And I talked to Karen about it, and like the first thing, I have chills thinking about it. The very first thing,
Karen Dendy Smith.
We love her.
I was like, please say her.
Amazing. Sorry. The very first thing, she like kind of tuned in or connected to Belle, which was my dog. And this dog was like my soul, my purpose for where I am right now. And she just said, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, I have chills thinking about it, because I was instantly sobbing. We made a lot of mistakes with Belle, but I always told myself that she kind of helped me get through hard times of my life. And then once I was in a safe space, she passed like immediately after that. And I always felt like she would be proud of me and the work that I put in. So she said that, and it was like 1,000 pounds off my chest. You know what I mean?
Confirmation.
It was amazing. And yeah, look, I have goosebumps.
I know.
But it was like I was grieving her so heavily, and just having that experience helped me, I think, move on from that. So it's okay also to do it for a pet that's no longer with you.
And I'm sorry, I'm just going to tangent here really quickly, because there was like a group of like 6 of us this morning taking pictures, and a dog was very obedient and sat very pretty for his pictures in front of the superzoo sign. And as soon as his handler released him, he walked in a group of like 6 of us, pet people who are all used to animals coming up to us because we're so like empathetic to them. He walked beelined to Karen Dendy Smith. So if you need to know anything about Karen, she's amazing.
It's the Animal Communication Collective, right?
Yeah, the Animal Communication Collective.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to pick a question off of here. What's your opinion on yearly vaccines versus titer testing?
Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You knew that somebody was just going to like take over an answer, and that was it right there.
That was the end of that. I'm all for titer testing. I would like for that kind of activity to be frequent and understood and discussed, and for people to not be made to feel like they're doing the wrong thing if they do titer testing, as opposed to over vaccinating. I don't have a problem with vaccines. I work in the healthcare industry. I've been a nurse practitioner for a really long time, but I do think that over vaccination is a big problem, and it is contributing to a lot of health problems for our animals. So do the titer. We do it for people. We do it for vets. Well, vets are people. Vets do it. My patients do it. There's no reason why the animals can't do it too.
So okay.
Don't be discreet. We're all
Don't be discreet.
It is a safe space.
I do have some problems with some vaccines. However, I do understand that I'm actually getting ready to listen to a podcast Dr. Judy Morgan just put out with a homeopathic veterinarian who only uses nosodes for parvo.
Yes, I want to learn more about nosodes.
I do too. And like I literally, her Friday 5 email came out today, the day we're recording this, and it is on using nosodes for parvo specifically. And I'm like, I'm learning this because previously I was like, okay, rabies and parvo we need to vaccinate for in my mind. But I'm like, maybe we don't even need to vaccinate for parvo. I don't know. And then of course there are laws around rabies so that we need to try to respect, even though we don't always want to respect them. But we can properly vaccinate. Yeah, we can be smart and properly vaccinate, not too early, because when we're vaccinating these puppies and kittens at like 5 and 6 weeks of age, they're still protected by their mother's immune their mother's immune system is still taking over in their body, and we may very well be injecting them with something that they are getting none of the benefit from, but all of the risk from, and that's not appropriate either. But anyway, properly vaccinating them when they're a little bit older, not 5 or 6 weeks old, and then titer testing, because it's so easy now. First of all, I think science is like a religion at this point. We're not. Let's not turn science into a religion, please. Science is ever evolving.
And you can have complex opinions about it.
And that's why they call it practicing medicine, because we are always practicing.
And so if we are actually looking at the science, then titer testing makes the most sense because that is actually following the science.
Yeah, but Jess, it doesn't make the most money.
And
But
I was
Kara,
just going to add, we need more research on vaccines where we do them cumulatively and not individually, because the effect one vaccine is going to have on the body is different than 30, 40, 50 over the life of the pet, right? So cumulative research as opposed to one vaccine at a time, so we can see what it actually does over the years rather than just like the first 6 weeks of life, because we have research for that, but we don't know what happens later.
I'm gonna step in here. People like Dr. Ronald Schultz, who are veterinary immunologists, have studied this concept of duration of immunity for years, decades, and they've been trying to get vets to listen, and they haven't been listening. Because
I was going to explain
because
titer
there's
testing.
money in it, right? So if you want to give your cat or your dog a vaccine, do it once, titer, see if they have immunity. And if they have immunity, they have
Don't
it.
titer.
They have it.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep retitering, because there are memory cells called T cells in the immune system. And if the threat in the environment is not there, they back off into the background. So if you did a titer and it says, oh, they don't have any circulating antibodies, guess what, people? It's because there's no threat. But if they were exposed to that virus again or that threat, those little T cells come out of the background and they're like, woo, we got to go get the invader, right? They're already trained to know what to do. So we don't even have to spend tons of money. Do it one titer. That's it. Just see if they have protection, and they're protected.
In the human health industry, it's a little bit different because we don't routinely titer, right? So the only time I would be checking like a titer on somebody is if I maybe had an employee that got like a needle stick or blood or body fluids, like in a mucous membrane. They come down to the ER and I check their hepatitis B antibodies essentially. But nobody is going and getting that checked routinely or once after they've had their 3 series, right? So they only ever come to me because there was an exposure. And so it's only that snapshot in time. Do you have them? No. You get a booster. Yes, you don't. But then we don't check them again. So it's hard because this is an instance where we can't really take a lot of, I think, the human, trials in medicine and crossover. So yeah, I agree with Isabel.
Dr. Lori Kosher came on the Pet Parenting Reset. We did a whole episode only about titer testing. So the entire hour we were talking about titer testing, and one of the examples she gave was that she has been exposed to rabies 3 times in her veterinary career, and the American Veterinary Medical Association says, okay, you were exposed to a bat that was rabid. We're going to titer test you to see if we need to give you another rabies vaccine. And she said, why? We know this. We know this is science. We know this is good science.
Yep.
Why are we not applying this to our animals?
Yep.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. How often should we bring pets to the vet?
That is like that goes right from that question to this question. Yeah, I know. I think that's like a really divided topic. So some people say, once a year when they're younger or every 6 months when they're older, just for like your kind of wellness check, maybe to do some yearly labs and make sure that everything is, ticking correctly. My personal opinion is, and I say this mostly as a person who's worked in healthcare for so long, I can't tell you how many people I have seen come into the ER and they come in for one little thing, a little cough, something. And through the course of my workup, I find out that they have uncontrolled blood pressure, uncontrolled diabetes, heart disease, congestive heart failure, and all of these things going on. And I say, well, when did you last see a doctor? You told me you have no medical history. And they're like, oh, I haven't been to a doctor in 40 years. Well, you have no medical history because you haven't seen somebody who identified your medical problems. And I think that can be a big problem for animals too. So, and I think that that has changed for me over the years because it used to be, well, if they don't have a problem, don't take them in. Now I would rather take that proactive approach. And for me, the proactive approach is having baseline blood work so that if something does go wrong, you have something to compare to, and having a good established relationship with your vet so that you're not just coming in and meeting them for the first time because your animal is at the emergency crisis point.
And dental care.
And dental care.
And just because you and I were just talking about this, I like to bring my dogs in at least once a year for like muscle testing and to check all of their supplements that we're doing. Because a lot of things, you know, he's just saying like, this isn't resonating well with her. Can you rotate that out? And so we'll rotate supplements and everything based on that, even if they're healthy. And yeah, to create that.
Vet.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to a crunchy vet like we are, if you're just going in to get shots and stuff like that. But if you want to keep your pets balanced, especially in senior years, yeah, I like to go through all their supplements and everything every 6 months to every a year.
So this is now, we are no longer the healthy pet space. We are the crunchy pet space,
Oh, yeah.
just so everybody is aware.
Occasionally high
This
level
is what we're doing
crunchy.
now.
High level crunchy. I'm crunchy adjacent.
You start talking about energetics
I'm the
and it's high
woo-woo
level.
energetics
Yeah, that's high level
space. Yeah.
crunchy.
Yeah.
Jess. Oh,
Muscle testing.
Yeah. That is, I do it now by myself.
all right.
Yep.
What are one of the biggest challenges for the holistic pet space? I just had so many things pop into my head, so I'm going to let y'all.
Money, 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 money. I think from the perspective of the average pet parent, I think money. I think that there's always, I think that access, whether it's money or geographic location, are both problematic. I live in El Paso where we don't have a holistic vet. We would have to go somewhere or just do something online. Those are kind of harder to find. There's more kind of work for the pet parent to find and curate the information out there. So it is a challenge. It's time consuming. It's expensive. And some people just really want a pill to solve the problem. A lot of people are wired that way. So like if I just make an appointment, I go to the vet, they give me a pill, then I feel like I've done the work. It takes a special pet parent to really go outside the box and to say like, this is not working and I need to find something better. And then they find their way to you guys. But that's not your average pet parent. Your average pet parent even just wants the neighbor next door to walk the dog because they want to save a couple bucks, right? And then they don't realize how much of a risk that is until something bad happens. And so education, access, and money.
Can I also just throw in that, like, if we go really, really deep, the biggest threat, the biggest challenge is the propaganda that started with Rockefeller?
I would say that the biggest threat to the holistic pet space is the holistic pet space.
I get that. And I get that. I agree with you because so many holistic vets,
100.
they don't look for the root cause. They're practicing medicine just like a conventional vet.
Yeah.
They just use a label like I use herbs or I use chiropractic or I use acupuncture or whatever that might be, but they might not truly be holistic minded.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that come in. I mean, even just walking around Superzoo every year, the natural section gets a little bit bigger. And a fraction of that is truly natural or holistic and it's driving me insane. Yeah. Everybody's making a supplement now and it's really frustrating. But even like going deeper than that, I think our biggest problem is our inability to respect each other's choices and get along. We are constantly fighting each other while also trying to it's like we're fighting amongst ourselves while also trying to hold off an invading army. It's not going to work. And I think that if we could do a better job of just like respecting each other's choices and opinions, even if they're different, as long as we can come to the conclusion at the end of the day, we all just really want all of the animals in the world to thrive, I think we would be a much happier space and people would be less anxious.
Focusing on the positive.
Focusing on the positive, yeah. So I think we need to do better at that. I don't know if that's...
Oh, I think Jess, I'm already nominating you for this one. Should we detox routinely or only if there are signs of liver issues?
Ooh, I would have actually given it to Pam.
Well,
but
I'm just talking about because we had a conversation about glutathione yesterday. So
yeah, I don't think detoxing is optional anymore in the world we live in. We live in like a toxic stew. And
yeah,
we live in a toxic. I was just talking
swamp.
Yeah, I was just talking. I was just talking to Susan Recker. 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 I was over at Animal Diet Formulator, and she was like, I don't know if I can do superzoo again because of the casino, because of Vegas, because she's like, I'm in this giant convention center and it's like the air quality is horrible and I'm just in this fog.
Everyone's smoking.
I'm in a fog and mold in the rooms. And yeah, and I mean, this isn't exclusive to Vegas or convention centers. This is our homes. This is you buy a couch and you bring it into your house and it is off gassing. This is everything. This is nonstick cookware. This is black plastic spatulas. This is
my own personal hell loop of having 3 little trees car air fresheners trapped in the back of an Uber during rush hour, not being able to roll the windows down.
Yeah. Oh, I hate when they have the child locks on the windows. I'm like, no. But the point is that we live in a toxic stew, and it is worse for our pets because they are smaller, because they are always on the ground, because they are not wearing any protective clothing or anything. Cats aren't getting outside to off gas. We don't have a choice but to detox. And if you are not actively detoxing, and that's going to be different for every individual.
Well, yeah.
Some of us might need it every 6 months. Some of us might need it quarterly. Some of us might need to be very mindful of the foods we're eating so that we're constantly detoxing with parsley and beets and cilantro. And I'm not eating cilantro because it tastes like glue to me. Or so, yeah, it tastes like soap to me. I can't do it. But there are things that we can do. So, Pam.
No, I was just going to say every body is different. So you need to have a unique approach. And this is why working with like an energetic professional, like stuff that I do, you work with the body. It's not a one size fits all approach because not everybody needs the same supplement. So you have to find out what works with that particular body. And that's where the energy testing or the muscle testing comes into play. And the kind of training that I've gone through to figure out, how do we minimize what we're using to get the maximum results? Because you don't want to have a bowl full of supplements, a little bit of food at the end of the day. Dogs and cats are not going to follow that.
Yeah.
So we have to be smart and it has to be strategic based on exposure and what they're going through and what their body wants, because their liver has to process all of that.
Yeah.
And if their liver is sluggish and their lymphatic system is stagnation, your detox isn't going to be effective. And that's where, when you say the words like detox, people just shut down. They're like, I don't even know where to start. It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. When you think about detox, what you're thinking about are your detox pathways, and you have 6 main detox pathways in the liver. So whether it's sulfonation or methylation, you need different things for that, right? So if you want to be able to methylate, you need your B vitamins. If you want to sulfonate, you need, wait for it, sulfur. So like you need these things in the diet, even just to support your normal bodily detox pathways that are good, that the liver is doing every single minute of every single day for you. But then if you come across an exposure because your neighbor sprayed their lawn with pesticides and you didn't realize it until your dog already, raised their leg and took a pee on their favorite tree, well, now maybe we need a different kind of detox. So yeah, all of those things combined, I think.
Yeah, well, and just exactly what you said, like doing a detox. I'm using actually doing a detox. Please don't do that unless you have worked to make sure your detox pathways are open and flowing and doing all of the things.
Who's next? Are you next? Okay.
Yeah. What are some barriers keeping pet parents from trying holistic options? Ego.
Ooh, talk more about that.
I like that. You were so fast. You didn't even finish reading the sentence.
Karen and I also talked about that for a long time because it's like what stops people from going to communicators. Okay, because you're like, oh, well, that's woo-woo. And like muscle testing looks like bullshit, honestly. But it works.
How dare you? How dare you, as I'm like.
It does. Yeah, it's like you watch your vet and it's like, you know what I mean? Exactly. It looks like bullshit, but unless you've seen the results that come from it, it's profound. So you have to get over that, like, oh, well, that doesn't work. That's bullshit. That's that little ego, and you're just try things. But be smart about it, because there's a lot in the holistic space that is bullshit, if I'm being honest, and there's a lot of snake oil out there. So vet it, but don't say no to holistic options like red light therapy or, ozone or things like that just because you don't understand it.
I think fear is another big one too. And it can be fear of the unknown on the side of the pet parent, but I think it can also be fear instilled in them from maybe a more conventional setting where there are some preconceived notions about holistic health or natural health, which really is the original medicine. It came first. What we do now conventionally came second. And so I think that there can be some preconceived notions there that can be then imparted on the pet parent and really put them off from trying it.
I agree. And I'll say from a cultural perspective, I'm Latina, and different places that you come from, different upbringing that you may have experienced, the way that you saw your family raise their pet may make you feel silly about digging a little deeper because you're like, oh, I mean, my dog lived outside and ate whatever and lived to 25. But like life is different. Things are different. The world is different. And you can be different. It's okay to kind of separate from that preconceived notion and dig a little deeper. It doesn't have to be something you embrace immediately. The more education you provide yourself, the more questions like how to ask, like you know what questions to ask so that it does become more comfortable for you. You don't have to embrace it overnight, but to just to let cynicism or like cultural bias cloud your ability to help your pet is ego and is not it's not okay because your pet depends on you for their quality of life. And you're not bigger than that. That's more important.
Embrace being the black sheep.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the black. I'm a proud black sheep.
Yeah.
I'm a proud black sheep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But one of the things I tell people is keep an open mind because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're not getting the results that you want from what you're doing, then you're going to have to put your big girl boy panties on and go, okay, you have to get a little courage to look outside of your box because you're not going to find answers if you're contained in a box. There are so many tools and there's so much information out there, but don't be afraid to go explore.
What if you don't wear panties, doll?
You're
Next
probably healthier.
You're probably yeah.
So just I'm the timekeeper.
Okay.
It's 1 o'clock.
All right. We have I think just a few more minutes then. Okay. What would you say to a frustrated pet parent who feels like they've tried everything holistic and it isn't helping? I would love for you to expand because you literally
Yeah.
just started saying that.
Yeah. Okay.
They have not tried everything. I don't believe it. Sorry.
There's no way.
Okay. Here's number one. They need to work with a professional who can guide them. Okay. And you have to understand that healing takes time. So you can't throw a supplement at your pet for a week and expect to see miraculous changes. It's got to be done for a while.
No,
because
seriously,
medication.
Can we just take a minute and repeat that? You cannot give something a week or one purchase, like one bottle. You go through it,
takes
and then now you're like,
time.
it didn't work. Bye.
No, like if you think about it, drugs work quicker because they work against the natural way the body works. But if you're working with natural stuff, it takes longer for natural stuff to really make those effective changes. And it's long term, right? So you have to give things time and work with someone who knows what they're doing.
Well, I think that actually, I was going to say something and I was like, that actually flows into this question that do you think holistic options work as well as conventional? And one of the things I recently heard a doctor say was that a functional medicine doctor was that you can't kill your way to health, and conventional medicine is about killing. It's about eradicating. It is all antibiotic, antibacterial, antifungal. They're trying to kill or cut out whatever, and that you can't do that and find health.
But what is holistic health about?
Holistic health is about supporting the body's natural processes and being able to let the body do what it already knows it needs to do, but just helping it and supporting it along the way.
And when you've been doing it the wrong way, that takes time to reverse, does it not?
So here, I'm
Well,
going to give
it's
this to you. You asked the last question.
It's finding the root cause of a problem and addressing that.
And giving the body the time to like rewire itself. Okay, this is our last question. And we're at superzoo, so this is a very appropriate way to finish. How important is exercise and enrichment to overall health? I mean, this place is full of enrichment. I think that the like trendy word every year is enrichment. So who wants to answer this? You.
I'm a big enrichment fan. I actually worked at the zoo as a enrichment intern. My job was to basically make toys and stuff for the zoo animals. And like, when is the last time as a very normal, good pet owner that you thought to stimulate your dog's instincts? You know what I mean? We spend
Or cat.
so much time and energy trying to get them to not do those things, not dig, not mark, not chase, not bark.
chew.
Again, everything is anti.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Everything is anti.
And I mean, like, we want cats to not scratch and not whatever.
And that's her nature.
You can't stop. You can't do that. You have to stimulate it proactively. So with products like mine, I'm like, yeah, sure, it's a rabbit roll, but it's so much more than that. You're getting the smell, the texture. Watching a dog, like I just talked to Lizzie from First Mate. She's a dog named Soto, and she said he likes to pluck the fur on tennis balls. And I said, has he ever had a quail? And she said, yeah. He plucked all the feathers out first. And it's just crazy watching animals. They just know what to do.
It's instinctual to them.
For
It's
those that
instinctual.
are watching that don't know what kind of products you sell in
Yeah.
the enrichment aspect, would you mind elaborating?
Yeah, so I sell things like rabbit rolls, rabbit hides, whole quail chicks for cats are great. Very like gross stuff. But I like the conversation that it starts with people about like, yeah, no, like that's gross to you. That's a check your ego at the door. This is a carnivore in your house that you're treating like a baby. Well, that carnivore's instinct is telling it to chase, grab, rip, and tear. You know what I mean? So take the rabbit hide roll, and they're like, well, how long does this last as a chew? And I'm like, that's not the point. Take it, wrap it in a towel, put it in your Amazon box with the paperwork, make them shred and sniff and find it. Some people take them and like hide it in the yard, let their dog out, make them sniff it. And even if you do just give it to them as a chew, it gets things going in their brain that we've spent so long fighting. I get a lot of like, well, I don't want them to think it's okay to chase rabbits.
They're
Let
gonna
them.
think that anyway. They're
I'm like,
wired to
I
think
say,
that.
And just okay, as a previous trainer, when you engage their brain, when you engage species appropriate activities, that is actually engaging them way more than even a walk.
A walk, yeah.
Like it
Like
is
sniff walks are
so
much better
beneficial
than
to them.
walks.
And
Walks.
for
Yes,
cats,
safaris.
Yeah.
yes, Nefaris.
Yeah.
And for cats, engaging their hunt and prey sequence is so beneficial for them.
Having them just use their paws for something other than standing is so
Yeah,
important.
absolutely.
And we always focus on the mouth and the eating, but like just holding and ripping, like you said, so important.
Every aspect. I think every aspect of an animal is made to be enriched, and we need sure that we need to make sure we're doing it through food, through walks, through play, through everything. So
Well, I would love to wrap up, actually, if I may make a
Yeah.
suggestion. Since we're at superzoo, one at a time, we'll say what product stood out that we think would be cool for your audience to check out.
Me? Okay. So my favorite product this year is Earth Buddies liposomal glutathione.
Let me think about it. Keep going.
I am really excited about the cortisol stool test that Innovative Pet Labs put out.
Yeah.
I can't wait to send it off on my nervous dog and my nervous cat. So very, very interested on how that's going to look.
Was that Tavati? Yeah, I just think my favorite thing about it is that they've proven that it works, but don't know why it works. That's it's a massage oil with hibiscus extract, and they said it like rapidly increased bone growth and like soft tissue regeneration. And I just think that I simply like it because they don't know why it works, and it's something so culturally tied. They've been using it for generations and generations in the Cook Islands and like Polynesia, and they know it works. The same thing with like turmeric. Now we're studying that, but there's so many things in the holistic world that they're like, well, we can't prove that it works, so it's not safe. Yeah. We've been using it for generations.
What's cool about Tavati too is how easy it is to apply, because it's an oil, it's a massage oil. You put it behind their neck, so it's not like you're trying to feed it or whatever. And it's systemic. I love them too. Their probably tied for first place.
Yeah.
Second place for me, or first runner-up, would be Giddy Kitty. It is an enrichment system for cats that actually follows the prey cycle, the hunting cycle, and lets them actually eat off of the toy. So they're little like Cheerio cat toys that kind of go onto the bird or dragonfly or whatever, and they actually like grab it, hold it, eat from there. Think of like your like candy necklaces, but there's no elastic, there's no danger there. It's so well designed. They also have like they just launched it here, a little suction like flower that you can use as a feeder, and they like swat it and it throws the treat so they can chase the treat. And I loved Giddy Kitty.
I need to go look at that because I haven't.
Emerging brands.
Okay.
That's fun.
I mean, I need to go find their booth.
Emerging. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's not a new thing, but for cat people, they're always asking me about flea stuff. And I found the Flea's Gone, which uses scalar technology and is electromagnetic.
Oh, the tag?
The tag.
I walked by it.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I think we had some cool stuff. I think we answered some cool questions, and this was really great.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you for indulging me. We had
so
some
much more fun doing this not while doing shared screen
I
and
know.
that the audios don't match. And then
I know. Although I did have
struggle with it.
I did have some technical difficulties, but
Girl, technology
That's
makes
okay.
me just.
oh my gosh. All right. Thank you guys for joining. I will link everybody's everything in the show notes, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening. Please remember that you, yes, you, are the driving force that helps keep small businesses and platforms like mine running. So if you liked what you heard, please like, share, and most importantly, rate this podcast. It's the only way we can reach more people and spread the word about natural health. None of the conditions discussed or recommendations given are meant to replace the advice of your health provider. So if you have concerns about yourself or your pets, please confer with a human or animal health practitioner. Have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you next week.